Okay, think about this situation. It happens all the time. You're a parent, right?
Mm.
And you're pouring everything you have into raising your kids. I mean,
Right.
everything, time, energy. You put your own stuff on hold.
Mm.
You really try to get it right, hoping for that close, loving connection.
Yeah.
But then somehow it feels off. Your child might seem, I don't know, distant or demanding, maybe even kind of disrespectful sometimes. It's really painful when that happens.
Oh, it absolutely is. So many parents feel that exact confusion, that hurt. They think, I'm giving my all here. Why isn't it working? Why don't we have that mutual respect I dreamed of?
Yeah, you feel like you're ticking all the good parent boxes, but the result just
Yeah.
isn't matching the effort you're putting in.
Exactly.
And naturally, your first thought is, okay, what am I doing wrong as a parent? Am I too strict, too soft? Maybe we need more quality time. The focus immediately goes to that interaction parent to child.
Right. The external
Now,
actions.
what if the real key isn't primarily about how you treat them?
Yeah.
What if it's something deeper, something more about how you treat yourself?
That's such a fascinating idea, isn't it? And it's really the core of what we're exploring today. It shifts the whole focus inward. It suggests that what's going on underneath, those hidden dynamics between parent and child, are really shaped by the parent's own inner world, especially the relationship with themselves.
So we've been looking into this, drawing from different ways of understanding families, like looking at the whole family system,
Yeah.
and also ideas about, well, deeper energetic connections.
Mm.
And they both seem to point in this direction.
They really do converge on this surprising point.
Let's go back to that common experience.
Yeah.
Putting the kids first, completely first, often.
Yeah.
Your life just revolves around them, their activities, their needs, making sure they're happy. You might drop hobbies, maybe pause career goals, time with your partner gets squeezed. Even just basic rest goes out the window.
Yeah.
All because you want to be that dedicated parent.
It's that whole narrative, isn't it? The self-sacrificing parent. Society often holds that up as the ideal, like that's the ultimate expression of love. You put yourself last.
But then the result is that confusing thing we talked about. The child seems, I don't know, cold,
Yeah.
demanding. Maybe they push away your affection or just don't seem to appreciate your efforts. It feels like all that sacrifice didn't just go unnoticed. It somehow pushed them away.
And this is where we get to that really powerful central idea. Children don't just learn from what parents do for them. They learn and they respond most deeply to who the parent is to themselves.
Wow. Say that again.
The way a child treats their parent often mirrors, in a really profound, often unconscious way, how that parent is treating their own self.
Okay, that's big. Let's try looking at that through one of those lenses you mentioned, the sort of family systems perspective, like the work people do with family constellations, thinking about the whole system. They talk about these underlying orders or natural flows in families, right?
Exactly. These inherent principles that, when they're respected, allow love and life energy to flow in a healthy way.
So what's the order here?
Well, one of the fundamental ones is about the flow of life and hierarchy. Basically, life itself comes first. Then, the adult stands in their own life, grounded, often with their partner if they have one. And then comes the child. The energy, the resources, they flow from the past through the parents to the child.
Okay, so if a parent is constantly putting the child's needs or happiness way ahead of their own well-being, maybe ahead of their partnership or just their own right to have a full life, from this viewpoint, that actually messes up the flow.
That's precisely it. When a parent sacrifices themselves too much, giving up their own joy, neglecting their core relationships, losing their sense of who they are beyond being mom or dad, the child doesn't actually receive that as pure love.
Really?
Yeah. Instead, it comes with this heavy feeling attached. It actually becomes a burden for the child.
A burden.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, the parent thinks they're giving pure love,
Right.
but the child feels it as a burden. How did that even work?
Because that kind of giving isn't coming from a place of fullness, of self-possession. It's rooted in self-denial. So it carries this unconscious message like, love means you have to lose yourself, or my needs don't matter as much as yours. And the child, deep down, picks up on that. They sense the parent's unhappiness, the resentment maybe, the life not fully lived that's tied to the sacrifice.
It's like trying to give a gift, but the box feels heavy with sadness or expectation.
Exactly like that. And the really tough consequence is that the child then unconsciously starts to mirror it back. They treat the parent the way the parent treats themselves deep down.
So they might ignore the parent's needs.
Yeah, or reject them or not show respect because the parent isn't fully respecting or prioritizing their own self, their own being. It's like the child's whole system reacts to the parent basically abandoning themselves. It's almost like they're saying, if you don't value you, how can I? If you put yourself last, then okay, I will too. It's this painful reflection, but it's not malicious. It's just mirroring the imbalance, the parent's inner state. A child really struggles to take in genuine love from a parent who doesn't embody self-love, because that self-love is part of the foundation they need.
So if a parent isn't really dealing with their own stuff, their emotions, their past wounds, their challenges, the child can sort of pick that up and carry it energetically.
Yes, that's the idea. It's not deliberate. It's like a resonance in the family field.
Yeah.
And sometimes a child might even create distance, seem to cut off from a parent who sacrifices too much, precisely because the weight of that parent's unresolved pain or self-neglect feels too heavy for the child.
Like a form of self-protection.
An unconscious self-protection, yeah. Trying not to get pulled down by it, even though it looks like rejection on the surface.
That is such a different way of looking at it. It shifts completely from what we do for our kids.
To who we are to ourselves.
Yeah.
And there's another angle that points to the same thing, which comes from looking at those, energetic or soul connections within families. This view suggests that the really deep patterns, the difficulties we see in relationships, aren't just about psychology or learned behavior. They're transmitted on a much deeper level.
Wow.
Sometimes people call it the soul's informational field.
Okay, the soul's informational field. How does that play into this parent-child thing?
Well, the idea here is that self-love, or the lack of it, operates right at this core soul level. So if a parent is carrying around deep self-rejection, guilt, shame, feeling worthless deep down, even if they hide it really well, even from themselves sometimes, that inner state gets transmitted energetically. And kids, especially when they're young, are incredibly sensitive. They seem to just read that energy.
So it's not just words and actions, it's the feeling underneath, the vibe they're putting out.
Exactly. And based on what they read about the parent's soul state, the child's soul then responds unconsciously. They start treating the parent based on how the parent feels about themselves at that really deep level.
So if the parent feels unworthy deep down,
The child might struggle to offer respect. If the parent feels unseen, the child might act in ways that make the parent feel unseen. It's uncanny sometimes.
this makes me think of that phrase, children as mirrors of karma for their parents.
It's a powerful phrase, isn't it? It suggests that the struggles our kids bring up might actually be reflecting our own unresolved stuff back to us, our own spiritual or emotional patterns. Their souls are reacting to our deepest, often unspoken judgments about ourselves.
So the conclusion is pretty stark then.
It is. It's basically, if deep down you haven't accepted yourself, haven't forgiven yourself, if you carry that core feeling of guilt or not being good enough, your child's behavior will often unconsciously confirm that reality for you in a painful way.
So it doesn't matter which lens you use, the family system view or this energetic soul connection view. They both end up saying that your relationship with yourself is profoundly linked to the relationship you have with your child.
Yes, the child is mirroring your level of self-acceptance or lack of it.
It's tough to hear, maybe, because it puts the responsibility back on us as parents.
It does. But it's also incredibly empowering, don't you think?
How so?
Because it means if you're struggling in that relationship, feeling that disconnect or lack of respect, despite everything you do, one of the most powerful places to put your energy isn't just trying to change your child or find a new parenting trick aimed at them.
It's putting that energy and attention back onto yourself, changing how you relate to you.
Precisely. So what does this mean for you listening? If you really long for your child to be happy, to thrive, to listen, to connect with you with real love and respect.
According to these ideas,
Yeah.
the most effective place to start, it's inside yourself. It's not about trying to be some kind of perfect parent based on outside ideas. It's about cultivating a healthy inner state, being someone who's actually in touch with their own needs, their own truth, and has a basic sense of self-love, self-acceptance.
And that takes courage.
Right.
And some honest looking within. We need to ask ourselves some pretty deep questions like, am I actually good to myself day to day?
Do I cheer myself on, or am I my own worst critic? Always finding fault. Do I let myself just be imperfect? Do I let myself rest, feel what I feel without judging it?
And boundaries. Do I know how to set healthy boundaries? Not just with other people, but with myself. Boundaries based on self-care, self-respect. Just take a second. How do you actually treat yourself every day? What's that inner voice saying about your worth?
Do you feel deep down that you deserve respect? From yourself, too. And when was the last time you did something just for you? Not because you had to or because it helped someone else, but just because it nourished you.
That's a great one. And this is crucial. Do you truly accept that your own needs matter, that they're valid? And here's a really insightful one. Do you often find yourself just forgetting about yourself, neglecting yourself, especially in relation to your child? And if you see that pattern, can you ask why? What's driving that?
Also, notice what comes up in you when your child is difficult, when they don't act the way you wish they would.
Hmm.
Does it hit old buttons, make you feel not good enough, unloved? And can you find a place inside that can just say, okay, enough.
Hmm.
I am worthy. I deserve rest. I deserve love, just as I am.
These questions, they can feel intense, yeah, but they point the way. They're the path to shifting that fundamental relationship with yourself. But okay, doing this is one thing. How do you actually do it? How do you start treating yourself with more love if it feels totally foreign?
Well, there's some really practical tools suggested. One is this simple exercise. I see myself. I am good to myself.
Yes. It's about intentionally connecting with yourself. You can literally stand in front of a mirror, look yourself right in the eye, or if that feels like too much, just close your eyes, bring your attention inside, maybe picture yourself, perhaps even as a child.
And then you talk to yourself
Yeah.
using these specific kind of healing phrases.
Exactly. You say things like, I see you. Just acknowledging yourself, what you feel matters, validating your inner world. You deserve love right now. No conditions attached. You don't need to be perfect to deserve respect. Letting go of that pressure. And finally, thank you for being. Just gratitude for your own existence.
Thank you for being, wow, that one, that hits deep.
Mhm.
Actually doing that, looking at yourself or tuning in and saying those words, it feels like you're actively building that foundation of self-acceptance that maybe your child's soul needs you to have.
It really is. It's practicing that compassion, that recognition towards yourself. And while you do it, just breathe. Notice what comes up, feelings, thoughts, memories, whatever. You could even jot them down afterwards. It's like consciously reparenting, or maybe befriending your own inner self.
And there was another really practical suggestion too, more from that systemic angle. For those times when you feel like you're giving way too much, or when your child's behavior feels really hurtful, a kind of releasing sentence.
Yes, a simple phrase that's meant to help, sort of straighten out the energy flow in the system, get things back in the right order.
But is it?
It's, I am your parent. You are my child. I give you take. I take the rest for myself.
I am your parent, you are my child, I give you take, I take the rest for myself. Okay, that last part, take the rest for myself. What's the power in that?
It's a reclaiming. It's you saying, yes, the flow is from me to you, parent to child, but I hold on to my own energy, my own life force, my own place. It acknowledges the giving, but it sets a boundary. It says you're not just an endless well to be drained, especially if things feel unbalanced or painful.
Right.
It reinforces that you have a right to your own vitality, your own well-being, a life that isn't just about meeting the child's needs.
So it's not about cutting off the giving, but making sure the giving doesn't empty you out. Because as we've been saying, that emptiness can become its own burden for the child.
Exactly.
It's about getting back to that healthy order where you, the parent, are standing strong and resourced first.
Precisely. And from these perspectives, your strength, your well-being, your connection with yourself, that's self-love. It's not selfish. It's the absolute foundation, not just for your own happiness, but weirdly, maybe paradoxically, it's the foundation for your child's ability to receive love in a healthy way and to relate to you with respect and freedom.
It really flips the script on conventional parenting advice, doesn't it? Suggesting that maybe the most important parenting work you do is the work you do on yourself, for yourself.
Real love from a child, that healthy connection, it's not earned through more and more sacrifice. It becomes possible when you actually embody self-love and self-acceptance. Because then you're showing them, modeling for them, what healthy self-worth actually looks and feels like.
It's being the person you hope they'll become
Mm-hmm.
by being that person to yourself first.
That's fundamentally it. Yes.
So thinking about all this idea that your relationship with yourself is kind of the hidden key to your relationship with your child,
Mm.
that it creates the very foundation for their well-being and how they show love. Here's something to maybe sit with. What's one small, kind step you could take today, maybe even right now, just to show yourself the kind of care or acceptance or respect that you so deeply want for your child, maybe that you deeply want for yourself too?